Very, very tricky. They love to run screens and just trick plays with Cordell Patterson. Definitely got to be ready for that. What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of WFTCAST. It is WFTCAST number 12, and in today's episode of WFTCAST, we are going to be talking about how Washington beat the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It was a nail-biter finish, and thanks to some incredible plays from Taylor Heinicke and an incredible run from J.D. McKissic, it was one that you had to see to believe, and there are many things we can learn from this, a bunch of positive things, a bunch of negative things. Let's start off with some of the negative stuff. I said in my last video, and it happened, Cordell Patterson put on a show against the Washington football team. He had 5 receptions, 82 yards, 3 touchdowns, also had 6 rushes for 34 yards. I told you they're going to run some trickery with Cordell Patterson at the running back position and also in the slot and at the wide receiver 1 position at some points as well. And that's exactly what they did. And for the defense, they were better, but definitely not a top 10 what they were supposed to be. And definitely, I'll probably say not even a top 15 defense as well. I mean, it was better than last week, but still a lot of room to improve. Matt Ryan had 283 yards and 4 touchdown passes. If Matt Ryan had 4 touchdown passes, we take on Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, both of them later on this season. With one of the toughest schedules in the league, we're going to need our defense to step up for sure. The linebackers held Kyle Pitts also to a decent game. Pitts had 4 receptions for 50 yards. I mean, Pitts wasn't really an issue, I would say, and this one was mainly Cordell Patterson. But that was a great job. I was worried with John Bostic and Jamin Davis how the linebackers would affect and what if Kyle Pitts would run all over them. Luckily, he did not, and we were able to get the W partly because of that. Also, we need more pressure. Only had 1 sack in this one, 7 now total on the season, which is one of the lowest, I believe, in the league right now. With the Cleveland Browns last week getting 9 sacks on a Bears team, which doesn't really have an offensive line, but still, that's more than we've had this entire season, plus 2. Chase Young, still 0 sacks on the season. The lone sack for this game went to Montez Sweat on the edge. Jonathan Allen, he's our leading sack. He has the most sacks on the team right now for the season with 3. Also, another negative thing was injuries. Curtis Samuel did come back and was a huge factor in this one. He didn't really put much on the stat sheet, but he definitely was a big factor, I could tell, because they played him as a decoy, like what I expected, and because he's still coming off that injury, and I wasn't expecting him to get some big, deep plays. He's not really in that form, but he did get some good mid-range plays. His first 2 catches, I believe, as a part of the Washington football team, both of them were first downs, and crucial first downs as well early in the game. But like I said, injuries, he came back, but a lot of people got hurt. Diami Brown, wide receiver, he had a knee injury, was done for the game after his injury. Cam Sims, the same, except with a hamstring. Now, this is where it gets kind of bad. Benjamin St. Juste didn't play the game. I don't think he made the trip to Atlanta because of a hamstring injury, I believe. I could be wrong, could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it was a hamstring. Also, this is where it definitely gets bad. Brendan Scherf, a knee injury. He's going to be out for sure at least 2 weeks per Adam Schefter. It's probably going to be more. Hopefully it's not something lingering for him for the rest of the season, as we definitely need him because it's probably going to be. I don't see Washington getting a long-term contract with Brendan Scherf. I think this is his last season in Washington. As much as I want him, I don't see them franchising him again, and I just don't see a deal coming soon. But maybe if he's on the bench, not on the bench, but injured, it might make him more think about the contract and maybe come to terms. So maybe about that, you never know. Also, Logan Thomas, our starting tight end, got hurt, and that played a huge factor later on with rookie Seals-Jones. Seals-Jones could not catch. He could not catch some crucial passes down the stretch. Also was targeted, I believe, on that 2-point conversion that we failed near towards in the fourth quarter. So that was a huge part there. Logan Thomas will be week to week. I wouldn't expect him to play next week against the Saints, although that would definitely be a huge plus if he did. Also, one of our depth people on the cornerback position, I believe he's the 4th string cornerback, I would say. Torrey McTyer, the veteran, he's going to be done for the season with a torn ACL. He was all good, but then on the final play of the game, on the Hail Mary from Matt Ryan, he came down awkwardly on his leg, done for the season with a torn ACL. You hate to see it, especially now with Benjamin St. Juste having an injury. It's definitely kind of not, the cornerback injuries are kind of adding up a little bit as well. Also, John Bostic with a pectoral injury. He is most likely going to be done for the remainder of the season. This leaves Washington with 3 linebackers on the active roster, and I cannot stress this enough. Sign Jamie Collins. I don't care if he's asking for a lot. Of course not. Don't sign him if it's way too much. But if it's priced right now, I would go up to Jamie Collins' thing, depending on what Jamie Collins' thing is. But if it's only a few million, if I was Washington right now, definitely looking to sign him, because right now we've only got 3 linebackers on the active roster. Probably if we don't sign Jamie Collins, but maybe even if we still do, we will promote someone from the practice squad, because I still think we have a linebacker on the practice squad. Now we look at some positive things for this game. Taylor Heinicke, a huge positive and a huge momentum booster. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on this game. I know that the Falcons secondary isn't the best in the league by far, but still a huge confidence booster, just not throwing any picks. I believe the last 2 games he's thrown picks in both of them, so that's definitely a momentum booster. 23 to 33 for 290 yards for Taylor Heinicke. So that is definitely big. And also he led the game-winning touchdown drive in the closing minutes of the fourth quarter. Another big momentum booster and a huge step for Taylor Heinicke, as that is now his second game-winning drive in his first 4 career starts. Crazy stuff from him. Also, it was the beginning of October, first game of October, and you know what that means? That means it's scary Terry time. Terry McLaurin, 6 receptions, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, and this is his second 100-plus yard game on the year, both of those being the 2 wins that Washington has. If Terry can have an explosive month in October against these big teams coming up, Saints, Chiefs, Bucks, Packers, if he can have good games, we'll definitely have better shots at winning these games. His year total so far, 25 receptions, 354 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Next week, the Saints will be marching into Washington in another NFC South showdown. I'll have the preview for that game coming out in Friday's episode. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
She said I hate my day job. I don't feel it. I need race car. Top down to match my ceiling. I don't have none. $1 billion.